This is
a sculpture titled Third Generation that I'm talking about, and it is actually made out of about 500 pounds worth of broken, crushed glass, tempered glass, and empty bullet casings and dollar bills. And these ended up being in a photo you're looking at. The photo, which I'm now going to click on and go into this detail view. This detail view, I've sold these in a gallery, and then they've also sold for some charities. They were printed at 40 inches wide, 30 inches high, mounted on black foam core, and this detail view is titled Obsolete. It's part of a series. It's from the sculpture Obsolete, but you're looking at what I consider to be basically pretty much obsolete, which are bullet casings and the old days of cash. Eventually cash will be no longer something that will be part of the common market, which is scary. But so, it's my comment on that.
Well,
and then,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Eventually you're only going to be able to use your... Well, I believe they'll scan the retina of your eye, but eventually it's only going to be plastic. They're going to eliminate that paper cash stuff. It's going to all be electronic. It's going to all be, you're going to have a credit card that you can use or a debit card, and they're not going to let us use cash. And then this piece is what the detail view is taken from, and you're looking at large pieces of marble, and it is filled with empty bullet casings and pennies. And then emerging out of the bottom is the broken glass and empty bullet casings and dollar bills. That marble is 6 feet wide. It's a 6-foot triangle. It weighs about a ton.
Wow.
And as you can see, it's held together by 2 straps that are the kind of straps you would strap a package down onto a pallet. Metal strapping. By Nancy Rubens, because she had taught me about strapping, and she's used it on to fasten things. And it's old recycled marble. The marble was at the Veterans Administration. They were tearing down a building, and I saw they were doing the construction, so I went with a huge truck. I rented a 2-ton truck and got the pieces of marble. They let me take them out of their construction site because they were going to crush them. And just dollar bills and empty bullet casings are coming out, but filling the piece itself are bullet casings, and it's from the sculpture that I had done a few years before, even further than that, isn't it? And it's from this piece titled Obsolete, and this was built here at UCLA, and this was 8 foot tall, 5 feet wide by 3 feet deep, and this is a glass box filled with over 300,000 pennies and over 225,000 empty bullet casings. I collected these empty bullet casings from shooting ranges anywhere from San Francisco down to Tijuana. Detail view. So you're looking at a detail view of the pennies and the bullet casings, and this was made back in the late 80s when George Bush Sr. was our president. And so he had talked about thousands of points of light in his political campaign. So this are what I did to provide you thousands of points of light. The fluorescent light coming through the layers of pennies and bullet casings. While it looked in the daylight, it would look like it was solid. At night, it had light glowing through, giving you thousands of points of light coming through the obsolete pennies and bullet casings. Wow. And this piece weighed just under 5,000 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
And you could look down from the tall building that we're in right now that's 8 stories high. You could look down on the piece and see it from above, because from on the top view, it's all glass. It's an all glass box, and it's completely filled with the pennies and bullet casings.
Awesome.
And that was the first large, somewhat dangerous piece I ever did. It got a lot of publicity. It got written up in the news and stuff. And the first piece I did that got publicity is this piece here, titled Death of a Friend. Death of a Friend is an 11-foot long cigarette. It's 19 inches wide, and it is made from over 35,000 empty cigarette packs. And I did it to help people stop smoking cigarettes. It's dedicated to my grandfather, Joe Hyman, And my grandfather died of lung cancer. Unfortunately, he had started smoking in Poland when he was 9 years old. He's 69 years old. He died at age 68 from lung cancer because he couldn't stop smoking.
Yeah.
So in reaction to that, I built this piece, which has hand-crushed empty cigarette packs. I would have people save bags of their cigarette packs so they could see the giant cancerous growths that were growing. And instead of putting them in landfill and throwing them away, I collected them and then hot melt glued them together. There's 1 3/4 inch pipe down the middle of it, but the rest is all solid cigarette packs, empty cigarette packs that are hand crushed and glued together. The bulk of the body is what most people smoke, Camels. Then the red ones are Moors and Marlboros. The black ones are a special kind. And the gold ones were all Pall Malls. And I had one friend who smoked Dunhill cigarettes. So those gold for the filters are the gold Dunhills. And 7 people quit smoking cigarettes while they saved their packs.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. This piece took 4.5 years to build.
Gosh.
And I would do it while I was studying, while I was researching political science and art that I was studying, but I'd be also gluing cigarette packs, crushing them up, and gluing them together. And then it's been displayed at the LA County Fair for the American Lung Association. I ran their booth 2 different years. I printed up 15,000 announcements about this that I paid for the American Lung Association that we distributed to students so that they would take it home and talk to their parents about not smoking around them or quitting so that they would live longer. So that's Death of a Friend.
That's fantastic. And did you exhibit it somewhere else?
Well, then I had it on display at the Kaiser Permanente in Woodland Hills when they went non-smoking. It's been on display at the LA Marathon because the LA Marathon, I'll take my glasses off. I use my glasses when I'm looking at the screen far away. The LA Marathon used to, believe it or not, allow people to smoke cigarettes right around the starting line and the finish line. I was one of the people who went to their meetings and spoke, and on behalf of the American Lung Association, we made it a smoke-free start and finish zone. And also we went along the route and asked people, how would you be smoking a cigarette while people are running by you? Wow. So on display at the start-finish line was my cigarette, Death of a Friend, 3 different years for the LA Marathon to get people to stop smoking.
Wow, that's great.
And then another piece I did that you might know of.
I remember that.
This is a piece titled Brace for the Impact, and it is a 1961 Cadillac DeVille. And I built a custom 17.5-gallon aquarium, freshwater aquarium, that fits in the rear window of the car. I had built a very beautiful pond, and I was breeding koi fish, and my koi were upset. They wanted to go see the Hollywood sign, and they wanted to go to the beach, and they wanted to go downtown, and they wanted me to take them to Marineland and SeaWorld. So I got them a Cadillac, which had nice, good, smooth shifting and air conditioning. And so I took them out of their pond and put them in there and drove them around Southern California so they could see all the sights. That's Brace for the Impact, which is what the fish are doing. And I built that I believe I completed that in literally 1985. And then it got on TV and all around the world. The BBC did a piece on it.
Really?
And one of my favorite stories is they wrote it up in California Magazine, and I got a phone call from my insurance agent who sells me my car insurance. He had just gotten married, and he was on his honeymoon, and he's in the plane flying to Hawaii, and he looks at California Magazine with his wife, and he's laughing about the car, that someone would put an aquarium in the back window of a Cadillac. And then he and his wife are laughing, and he says, yeah, I wonder who insures that. And it occurs to him, he says, wait a minute, Stephen Simon, I'm the one who has the insurance policy on that. Of course, he didn't have a cell phone. That was before cell phones. But as soon as he got to his hotel, he gets my phone number from his office and calls me up and says, you won't believe what I just found out you did. How come you didn't tell me?
Wow.
I said, I don't tell you who the passengers in my car are in. I don't have to tell you that. I can put whatever I want in my car.
Right.
And he thought it was hilarious. So people discovered. And it got all throughout. The BBC showed it in Saudi Arabia. It got written up all throughout basically Europe, and it got extensive publicity in Eastern Europe. And I have where it got written up and interesting things about it in literally parts of the Ukraine, parts. A friend of mine from Yugoslavia contacted me and said it was written up in a newspaper there. And they referred to it, of course, as a crazy California driver.
Sure.